Hey everybody, Bruce Naylor, aka Frugal Tech, and I am going to be doing an unboxing today and kind of a quick review of the QNIX QX2710 LED Evolution 2 DPmulti TRUE10 display. Wow, that's a really long name. Okay, so here's what's going on. I was looking at the LG UM95. It's a 34-inch widescreen monitor to do my work in, and I use for video editing and all that sort of thing. And after giving it careful consideration, price tag aside, it really doesn't fit in with my workflow that well. For me, I think it's going to be better to have dual monitors, one nice big 27-inch display, and then a smaller 24-inch panel kind of hanging off to the side. So that's how I'm going to set this up. And I got to tell you, I've been doing a lot of looking around because I'm hooking this up to a new MacBook Pro Retina, 15-inch Retina. And the problem with a lot of the cheaper Korean panels is that they only have one input, which is dual link DVI. And you have to buy a converter, an active mini display port to dual link DVI converter, which requires like USB plus the connection, and people have problems with that, with sleep issues, and it's really not an eloquent solution. So I was looking around for a Korean display that had a display port input on it, and this is the one I found. So I found it on Amazon.com. And at the time it was, I want to say $349. And then I looked on eBay and found it for $269 delivered. I ordered it last Friday, and this is Wednesday, and was delivered today. So within, 5 days, I got my display all the way from South Korea. So let's talk a little bit about this particular panel. So this is a AU Optronics version of an IPS panel. It competes with the Samsung IPS panel. It's so their version of IPS. It's got 100% of your sRGB color gamut. It's actually a wide gamut monitor, which is really nice. The thing that makes this different than the other Korean panels is that it has multiple inputs. It features dual link DVI, D-sub, DisplayPort, HDMI 1.4, audio in, and earphones on it. It also has a pair of built-in 5-watt speakers, which are really terrible, and you're not really going to use those. But that aside, I also know that the QNIX 2710s are overclockable up to 120 megahertz. However, or 120 hertz. However, I'm not so sure about the multi-panel, whether or not it is. I also don't believe that it has its own internal scaler, but rather it's dependent on your graphic cards. And this is what's interesting, hooking them up to a MacBook Pro. I have seen a few people say they've had a little bit of issue, and I'm hoping that's not the case, because after I do the unboxing, I'm actually going to hook it up and then finish up the video, and hopefully I'll be able to edit this video on this brand new display. It also has a on-screen display, an OSD, which most of your Korean panels don't. Generally, they'll have your on and off button and one that controls brightness, and that's it. I mean, they're very skimpy. Now, also, the stand that this sits on only permits it to tilt, and that's pretty much it. A lot of people want to hook this up to a VESA mount, which is absolutely fine, but what you'll have to do is you have to separate the bezel from the case, or from the display, and then gently lift up on this panel itself, and then you can get to a couple screws to remove the foot there of the stand. I'm not going to be doing that for the time being. So these things tend to be a little bit wobbly, all right, just a little bit on the wobbly side. But if you're not moving around much or anything like that, should be not really an issue. But I think this will make me more productive. Also, they're using about 45 watts of power when you're using them, and then when they're in like a energy saver mode, it's not much, like a watt or less, half a watt. It's not very much when they're in energy saver mode. But this also has a matte finish, so it doesn't have that gloss. I love a glossy screen, but I get so many reflections in my home office here that can really cause me kind of a headache. So, I mean, this quality of panel is going to be equal to the Apple Thunderbolt display, the high dollar Samsung and LG panels, but for a fraction of the price. And like I said, I'm going to hook it up to the MacBook Pro via this mini display port. And I just went to Monoprice and purchased a new 6-foot mini display port to DisplayPort cable. It's like 2 meters. And I think it was like $6 or $7. So not very much there. And that's how I'm going to hook it up there as well. And then we'll get this all set up here in a minute. So why don't we go ahead and unbox this panel so you see what come in the box. Now I will tell you, the box arrived wrapped in a ton of bubble pack. I mean a lot. But there was no real damage to the box in shipping. So that's good. So let's just crack her open and see what we get here. So here we go. This is... and the panel is showing me that the panel is in the front. So the first thing that comes out of here is going to be a box right here. And as I suspected, it comes with a power brick right here. This is the Korean wall adapter, and so they essentially give you this little converter then to plug into your power. Yeah. They give you a dual link DVI cable, even though I won't be using that. And this looks to be like a basic 3.5 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter balanced audio cable. So that's what, and a manual. Let's take a look at this manual. And if it's what I'm thinking it is, absolutely it is. Everything is in Korean. Shoot, don't read Korean. So we got that. That's all out of the way. So now it's time to get the panel out of the box. So I'm actually going to have to set this down on the floor for safety's sake. And there it comes out. Got another piece of paper, some styrofoam. You see it's really well protected, the panel. So we'll take that cover off. And we got another end right here. That slides off. And then this whole thing is wrapped up in plastic. And there is the panel itself. And it really, it's not like the old anti-glare, which kind of gave things, I thought, kind of a grainy look to it. So that looks pretty nice. The Visa mounts on the back. And there you can see all the various inputs right here. Starting at the bottom, dual link display port, D-sub or VGA, dual link DVI, and HDMI, as well as your audio in and out jacks. So those are all on the back, if you can see those right there. Down the bottom, that's where we connect the pedestal to the stand right there. All right, so what I'm going to do now, and that's it. That's what's in the box. I'm going to go ahead and get this set up and hooked up to the MacBook Pro and see it to make sure we don't have any problems, any issues, anything like that. All right? Okay, I'm back. We've got it set up, and I can tell you right off the bat, I did notice a flaw on the screen. It wasn't a dead pixel. What it looks like was some type of scuffing on the coating on there, the anti-glare coating. And I don't know if that'll buff off, but it's absolutely not noticeable at all once the screen is up and running. Now the other issue is the MacBook Pro started constantly rebooting once I got it up and going, and that's because the display started off with a DVI input versus DisplayPort. Once I set the monitor to the correct setting, everything worked very well. Now I'm very, very pleased with the color reproduction. I've already color calibrated it using the built-in tools in OS X, which is nowhere near like having your own color calibrator, which ultimately I need to purchase one of those real soon. But I just kind of wanted to give you a little quick overview of it. It is absolutely stunning on the color. It looks, to my eyes, it looks just as nice color-wise as the Retina display on the MacBook Pro. So you have that. As I said, the stand is a little bit rickety on it, so you want to be careful about that. Personally, when I get an opportunity to invest in a desk mount, Visa, I'll do that. I will do that somewhere down the road, but not right now. Overall, I think I'm going to be very pleased with this purchase. I got to reconfigure my desk to make the best use out of this monitor in my workflow, which will be essentially having Windows running on its own display off to the side, and then having this as my primary monitor for $269. This is probably, if you're in the market for a 27-inch 1440p display, I just don't think you can go wrong with this thing whatsoever. But make sure, unless you know you just want that one input, then make sure you look for the multi version of it, so it has the various inputs, so you can hook up, you know, an Xbox or what have you to this monitor in addition to your PC or your Mac, or, you know, whatever you're doing there. That would be my advice to you. Now, as I said, I really don't know about the overclocking. I'll probably do a follow-up video to this after I've had a chance to live with this monitor for a few months. But I got to tell you, these Korean monitors are such a deal. You just can't really afford to pass these things up. And especially if you get as I say, you put it on a Visa mount, you're really gonna have a very nice monitor. I have another one over there. It's an X-Star that I bought, I don't know, 2 years ago, and it's performing flawlessly. They're bright, beautiful, and got wonderful color. And I think the response rate on is like 4 millisecond panel, so it's not super fast, but I think that's, you know, perfect for what I'm using it for, and I think it'd be just fine with doing some gaming on it as well, if that's what you want to do. Anyhow, so that's it. That is the QNX. The name of this thing is so long I can't remember it. The QX 2710 LED Evolution 2 DPmulti TRUE10. Why the 10? It's a 10-bit panel, which is, you know, there's a lot of 8-bit panels out there. That, I think it's got a lot to do with the color gamut that this thing runs. Not that that's as important to me as maybe if you were a professional, but that's it. For $269, I don't think you're going wrong. At any rate, want to hear your comments down below. Bruce Naylor, talk to you later.